Thank you for tuning in to Gloves Off Seattle. Your hosts, Patti and Meagan, will be talking about all things Seattle women's hockey. A huge Pacific Northwest welcome to the PWHL. Gloves Off Seattle! Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.
Gloves Off Seattle.
We are recording a bonus episode.
A bonus episode.
Because, well, number one, we said we were going to, and I put out a.
He was not drunk.
No, I wasn't drunk. I think I made that joke to Brian. I was like, oh, I must have been drunk last night when I put out that, should we or shouldn't we do a
poll.
poll, on Instagram. Anyway, but the reason I feel very compelled, I will say this out loud, and this is going to make everyone laugh. I feel compelled to do this bonus episode because Ashton Lansdell, who is the party animal that we saw on Friday night,
So much fun.
and had so much fun. We saw all the party animals, but she is the female player on the party animals, and we were very excited to see a female player on each team. But long story short, she got in our stories and voted yes that we needed to do a bonus episode. And
How can we not?
of course, and I also found out Ashton, I think she's doing the podcast for the Women's Professional Baseball League. So she's a podcaster herself. So here's the deal, Ashton. If you see this, we would love you to come on the podcast.
Please come on our
We would
podcast.
love to have you on the podcast. We talk about women's hockey, but we can talk about women's baseball too. We'll talk about anything, especially if it's a women's sports related. Because anyway, so there's my little pitch to Ashton. If you hear this, if you see this, we would love to have you on the show. It would be super fun. We can Zoom you in. Just let us know. Anyway, so getting on with why we decided we're going to do a bonus episode. We decided we're going to do a bonus episode for a couple reasons. First and foremost, we want to talk about Banana Ball. We went to see the Party Animals and the Clowns.
Indianapolis Clowns.
Yes, play on Friday night
Friday night.
at Cheney Stadium, which is actually close to us. So if you know the area, we live in Tacoma, and
Very close.
yeah, Cheney Stadium is right down the road. So it was very convenient. And thank you, shout out Dana, my friend Dana, who gave us tickets to go. So we're going to talk about that. And then we have there's been a huge coaching shakeup. There's been a lot of things happening in the league. We are officially a week away from the start of the expansion process. And the the Players Association, I can't remember the acronym ever.
PWHLPA?
Sure, that sounds good to me. Just published the current player salaries for the entire league. So we'll talk a little bit about that too, just because I feel like this is hopefully not going to be a super long episode since the bonus episode.
Short.
But yeah, anyway. So let's talk about Banana Ball.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I mean, baseball doesn't really excite me. I mean, because I've never been to a women's baseball game, and male baseball. I mean, they've tried to speed it up, but if you're a hockey fan, baseball is kind of slow.
I feel the same way about football. So I didn't really enjoy football until we started seeing the Majestics play. So I'm on board for this. But I think that we'd seen enough TikToks and enough, social media of the Banana Ball League
to know this was not your regular baseball
this
game.
Isn't just a baseball game. And we normally go to at least one Mariners game a year. We actually missed this year because the kids were sick. Yeah, I was like, somebody was sick. And so we didn't end up going to the one Mariners game a year that we normally go to. But I always say, like, I enjoy baseball on a nice sunny day, but otherwise I don't really care for baseball that much. I played softball growing up, so it's not like I don't understand the game. I do. I just, it moves a little slow for me. So I'm with you.
Banana Ball, not so much.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot to see.
I know. And I was saying this to one of my coworkers today. I said, I think half the time I forgot there was actually a baseball game going on. Because there's so much other stuff.
A lot of stuff.
And the cool thing about this, and I don't know his name, but the man who created Banana Ball and started this league, really he wanted it to be a circus, and like that's what he calls it. Like it's the baseball circus basically, and it really is the most, for entertainment value, it is one of the most fun things. And I want to say, like, mad respect, because as soon as the Women's Baseball League the Professional Women's Baseball League was put into effect,
Announced.
they plucked up a female player, plucked up the female players and put one on each team. So
Every
there's every team has a female player on it now in the league, and I think there's 5 or 6 teams in the Banana Ball
there's
League.
6 teams, isn't that
Yeah,
what
I don't know. I don't know.
Aiden said?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we met a very nice young man, Aiden, as we were walking into Cheney Stadium on Friday night, and he explained a little bit of the rules to us. But we did catch, we went live and we caught all the rules. The announcer guy went through all the rules. So if you're interested in what the rules are, I'm not going to go through them other than they're very confusing. And at the end of the game, we still had no idea who won.
They put it up on the Jumbotron like party animals win. We're like, yay!
Yeah.
Party animals won.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a couple of rules that I just like. I'm gonna go over them real
Yeah,
quick.
go
That
ahead.
they're not really allowed to sit in the dugout. They have to be out there dancing and entertaining, and I like that rule.
Yeah.
And there's no bunting because bunting is stupid.
Yeah.
So if you bunt, you're
get
kicked out of the game.
Kicked out of the game, not just like called out. You get kicked out of the game. So yeah. What did they say? Bunting is for losers. Like
Yeah,
it was
something
really
like
funny.
that.
It was really funny.
But shout out to all the players.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really watching the clowns because we were right behind the dugout,
Yeah.
the party animal dugout,
Yeah.
and they were so good with the kids.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. There was like rock, paper, scissors. They were high-fiving everyone right at the
They had bubble guns.
They had bubble guns
They had
and
water guns.
and
Yeah.
They were throwing balls into the all over, like
Yeah.
over the netting
Yeah.
and high-fiving through
Well,
the
they would
netting
go
and
out
on
and-
top of the dugout.
And they would go out into the crowd and like do things out in the crowd too. And again, it was just it was a real and what we learned, which we didn't know, is like the whole point of the whole league is they have a fan first mentality. So like they want to make sure that the fans come first. So no, like, and even like when we went up to Ashton and we're like, hey, can we get a selfie? She immediately said yes, and then was like, hey, how can I make this easier for you? Like I'm going to take your phone and take it down because she was below us in the dugout, and she was like, oh, let me take your phone so we can get a better angle for all of us. So it's just I love the fact that it's just a very fan centric league, and it's like the singing of the crowd and the crowd participation. It kind of brought me back to Torrent games, and I was like, oh, this
good
is what
vibe.
we love about the Torrent, and being in being part of the PWHL. And anyway, so I think I wanted to talk about it mostly because the Women's Professional Baseball League, the WPBL, is actually getting ready to start here pretty soon. The players that are playing in the Banana Ball League right now will then, the 5 or 6 players will flip over to play in the professional league here, which there are 4 teams, and I think aren't they all on the West Coast? See, Ashton, this is
I
why
know
we
there's
need.
one in LA.
I know, Ashton. This is why we need you to
That's the one
come.
in LA, right?
She is, and I
Yes.
think that this is why we need you to come on our show, because we need to
Plug it.
educate us about the professional baseball league. So, it was honestly like we had light up bracelets at one point in the evening.
And love that they recycled them to
Oh, yeah,
reuse them because
yes.
you know what? You reuse, recycle, reduce.
Yeah.
I didn't mess that up, but
Yeah.
yeah. And there was a blackout. There was no seventh inning stretch, but there was a lot of stretch.
Oh my gosh.
Every intermission, and I call it intermission because I'm a hockey fan. When they switch sides so every intermission there was something going on. They're recording TikToks, they're dancing, they're singing, they're juggling. Everyone juggle. It was a really very cool. And
Yeah.
on top of that, we met some Torrent fans.
We did. So there was a couple that was walking by us, and the gentleman had on a Torrent shirt, and Patty was like, "Go Torrent," because Patty can't help herself in public. Anyway, so they came over, and then we started talking to them, and Alex and Shay were their names, and Shay actually sharpens is a I don't know if
Skate
you
sharpener, I
works
think.
in a skate shop or whatever, but he's a skate sharpener, so he's sharpened for the Torrent before, which we thought was really cool. But then we were like, I don't know, we got to talking, and then I was like, yeah, like we're Gloves Off
Oh,
Seattle.
wearing your puck play shirt.
Oh, I was wearing my puck.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I was wearing my Puck Place Market shirt, my tank top. And she said and Alex said that she played in Puck Place, and we're like, oh yeah, we were there. And she's looking at us, and I'm like, yeah. I said we're Gloves Off Seattle. She's like, oh, I thought you guys looked familiar. So anyway, it was a really cool connection to make, and just and then I think the other like hockey related thing that happened was as we were walking out, I took a picture of this woman, and actually somebody tagged her and posted it. Yeah,
I saw that.
So the
What the shirt
I
say?
said, wait, this isn't a hockey game.
Yeah,
But yeah, which I've actually seen that before. I've just not seen it in like the wild before. So it was really cute to see
very
that. And I
cute.
was like, "Oh, can I take your picture?" And she, she played along, which I appreciate. So
Very much.
anyway, it was just it was a stinking fun night, and we are definitely going to go back. We would definitely want to take the kids. It is such a,
Absolutely.
I mean, as much as like there's a lot of butt wagging that's going on, but like, our kids can handle the butt wagging. It's like it's a very family friendly, kid centric, like the dancing,
And
the
they took out all the bad
singing.
words in the
They did.
sequence,
Oh
didn't
yeah,
they?
the song. Yeah, because that's what we were saying. Like there's music playing the whole time. So it's not like at a Torrent game where it's like up until play starts and then they drop the music. It's like it doesn't matter. Like I said, half the time you forget there's a baseball game going on.
They recorded a TikTok when there was two outs, and they went out and recorded the TikTok and paused the game,
Yeah.
and then went back, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay,
Singing, dancing,
yeah,
acrobatics, like sing along. We all sang along to Journey. And I mean,
yeah,
Don't Stop Believing. I mean, anyway, it was just
it was a lot of
it
fun.
was so fun, and
Yeah,
we definitely recommend Banana Ball, especially because, like I said, I feel like, because this, obviously we are very big supporters of women's sports here, but I will say that I feel like this league is a supporter of women's sports too, and as the women's professional baseball league grows, I'm sure more women will end up playing Banana Ball too, because
so much
it's
fun.
really, I mean, and I think part of it, they call them a cast, which I thought was really cute. Like they're not players. They're like everybody is in, everybody that's on the field is part of the cast. But I mean, they obviously have to have these big personalities that are willing to do these TikToks and these dances and like these trick moves. Like that's the other thing is we didn't see anything like really big and flashy, but like there was a couple like behind the back, like flip my glove, catch it in my hat, those sorts of things. So just, people that are willing to get out there and kind of make a little bit of a fool of themselves in the best way possible because it's
Absolutely,
just so flippin' entertaining. So
very entertaining.
it was very fun.
Yeah, that was our Friday night.
That was Friday night. So this actually happened before Friday. I think it happened on Thursday that it got announced about Coach.
Oh yeah, the coach or
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Coach Steve's
So there's been a bunch of things happening. I think we already talked about yes, because I said it correct, Minot Room being the head coach of
GM,
Detroit, GM,
GM
not
of
that's right.
Detroit.
Sorry, GM of Detroit, and then the Vegas GM got named, and then the Hamilton GM got named. And Megan Dugan is actually she's a longtime USA hockey person, and she also is on the PWHL Player Safety Committee. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot. She's very knowledgeable, obviously, about the league, which is super exciting to have her. But then the other big GM announcement was San Jose.
Got a GM coach
Yeah.
slash.
Yeah, so Troy Ryan is now the GM slash head coach, which so for people who don't know, Troy Ryan was the coach of the Scepters and has been the coach of the Scepters for the last 3 years. He was also the head coach of Team Canada that just played in the Olympics, and so he has stepped down from Team Canada.
Oh, he did step down for sure. Okay.
They just announced that today, and has taken over both the GM and head coaching position of
San Jose.
San Jose. So all of the GMs and one head coach is now in place. So until our announcement, which we'll get to in just a second, there's three head coaching positions and obviously innumerable other, assistant coaching, equipment manager, PT people, all those
Lots of
people,
spots to fill.
lots of jobs to fill on the other teams. But now there's another head coaching job to fill because we got the announcement that Steve O'Rourke has parted ways, which we don't know exactly what that means. But the messaging that we got, that we've heard all over, from the press announcement to social media, even the season ticket holders got an email from Meg Turner saying that,
Thanks, Meg.
yeah, saying that Steve O'Rourke has parted ways with the Seattle Torrent. So we are currently without head coach and we've had many discussions about what we think is probably going on behind the scenes. We don't know for sure, but we think that Meg Turner is a very, you know,
She's very savvy and
very
she
yeah,
doesn't very, I don't want to say calculated because there's a connotation with
yeah,
calculated really. And I just think that she's very knowledgeable
it's
and
very
she's
smart.
very smart
Yeah.
and very just
So we would our opinion, and this is an opinion. We're stating an opinion. This is not
totally
fact.
opinion.
We have no idea what really is going behind the scenes. We have not had any conversations with anyone, but our opinion is that we cannot imagine if it was a situation where Steve was let go, like the team said we're parting ways, not he said I'm parting ways, that Meg didn't already have somebody lined up for this job because we're now in a position where we thought four other teams, but now three, well, no, four other
Four other
teams, because
teams.
that's right.
Yeah,
Toronto needs a head coach now too.
right.
Four other teams are needing a head coach. So we now are in a pool of, you know, a almost large
Shallow.
pool. Yeah, but shallow, a large pool that is not very deep because, you know, finding people to do these head coaching jobs, people with experience coaching women, especially looking for a woman head coach, you know, a female head coach to come in. It's, yeah. Yeah, we're crossing fingers that that's the next move, but we'll see. So I, I honestly, timing wise, gobsmacked. Had it happened right after the season was over, I probably would not have been as surprised by it. But just the
Right.
timing of when it all
It was
happened
very surprising.
was very surprising because it doesn't it seems like it's probably the worst time to be in the market for a head coach for a PWHL team.
And that's another reason why we think Meg has somebody in mind, if not has a handshake deal done already,
Maybe.
because
Yeah.
the timing,
Yeah.
unless it was not, it was someone, it was Steve parting ways. So
Right, which we don't know. We like again, we're opinions, conjecture, like all the things. None of this is we're not reporting any news here. We're just giving our opinions. So I just want to make sure that that's very, very clear.
yeah,
And so yeah, so now I mean, I know you know, Brian, gotta clink for
Ryan.
Brian. We haven't clinked for
Hmm.
Brian yet. Brian has said that there are some head coaches that he feels like should be top of mind. I think one of those is Boston's assistant
Assistant
coach.
coach.
And she, you know, Meg obviously is familiar with her. Members of the Seattle Torrent, who we all are assuming are going to return, or will be familiar with her because they
And
played in
her
Boston
system and the
and the
system
system.
there in Boston. So
Right. So I think that's kind of the big thing. And like I don't understand enough about this to have like a really intelligent conversation, but I think the more I learn about hockey in general, the more I realize that like everybody doesn't mesh well with everybody, and that's not there's no morality around that, right? It's not good or bad. It just is. So if the system that Steve was putting together didn't fit with the players that were on the roster, and he was unwilling to change that, which it appeared from the outside that way, that he was going to work the system he was implementing and that was what he was going to do. Then it makes sense that he doesn't make sense as the head coach for us because he's not the system he has implemented doesn't work
did not
well.
work.
Yeah,
It
it
did not
wasn't
work.
working well with the players that we have. So now the question mark is how do we get a coach that will work well with the players that we're assuming we're going to have? Because that's the other thing is like going into this expansion process, there's some assumptions about who we're going to keep and who we're going to, you know, who might
Possibly
go,
lose.
but we won't know until this all shakes out. And so the other thought that just came to my mind is like Meg Turner might also be waiting until all of this comes to pass for to decide on a head coach because she may say we got to figure out what the team makeup is going to look like and figure out a coach that's going to
Fit with that.
mesh the
Yeah.
best with them. So
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that needs to happen. I don't envy Meg.
She's got a hard job.
She does
I
she
mean, all the GMs do.
yeah,
And is it going to be easier for
Troy Ryan.
Roy Ryan? I
That's
was
so
going to say
funny.
Tim, but I know.
Troy.
I knew Ryan. Okay, is it going to be easier for him because he's the GM and the coach, or is it going to be even like harder for him?
Well, I think, I mean, and I was joking with people that like, I wonder if he sold himself as a deal. He's getting a salary
Buy
and a
one, get
half.
one
Yeah,
half
well,
off.
yeah, a salary and a half rather than double the salary. Cause I'm like, I don't think any team would probably be like, oh yeah, this makes sense to double up your work and give you double the salary. My guess is he probably was like, I'll take salary and a half to do two jobs. But I think that's the other thing. The reality is, he's literally has two jobs to do now, and that's a lot of work. And I don't know enough about him to know like what his family situation is, like whether he's, you know, got kids or, you know, a partner or anything. Like I have no idea, but I'm just saying like that the job in itself, the GM job in itself is a huge job. Obviously, the head coach job is a huge job. And the GM's responsibilities, I think, are heavier like off season, right? And then
I would assume.
and then
Yeah.
the coach's job is heavier on, you know, during the season. So maybe we can assume that that's the way he's going to manage that is, you know, he can shift to being a head coach on season and shift to being a GM off season. But I don't know. You've said, and Brian have both, you guys have both said that this is not the most unusual thing that it's happened in the NHL that there's
I mean,
been
it's not frequently
no,
happened,
no.
but it has happened in the past. And Brian has stated it. Sather, Glenn Sather, I think,
Yeah.
in the 80s or 90s, most famously did it well and, enjoyed a lot of success
Yeah.
doing it. So, good luck.
Yeah, and walking into the expansion process, like he doesn't have anybody else to, and right now Meg Turner doesn't have anybody else to consult. I mean, none of the expansion team, new expansion teams have head coaches to consult as far as players or anything like that. But I also I think I was right that Steve wasn't named. I think that Brian confirmed that when we talked about that Steve wasn't named as head coach during the expansion process last time.
No,
And
that
so
was, yeah,
yeah,
that
and
was.
so but
So
but
I
what I'm
was wrong.
saying is like she didn't last year she didn't have his input on
Mm-mm.
the players she was getting during the
Yeah,
expansion
some
process
other
at all.
coach, but
So,
not my
yeah,
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah,
We've already forgotten his name.
yeah.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
Patty. No, we love Steve. We're gonna cheers for Steve, Coach
Cheers
Steve.
for Steve.
Yeah,
Thank you for being our
thank you for
first.
yeah, being the first year was a hard job, I'm sure. And he's a very kind, nice man, and that doesn't mean he's the best coach for Seattle. And I will, I'm not gonna argue with you about that, but obviously because he's no longer here, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean he's not a nice person.
Yeah, we
So,
had nothing but
yeah.
pleasant interactions with him every
Yeah.
time we did press, pre-game, post-game.
Just even seeing him walking around like KCI and whatever, he's just a very kind guy.
Very
Anyway,
nice guy.
this is just a little love on Steve as, he
Yeah,
departs and, best wishes for whatever's next in his career.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, to keep this short, we have a few minutes for, are we going to talk about
What are we talking about?
the list that came out?
Oh yeah, we could. I'm like, what? I was like, I said everything we were talking about at the beginning. What are
Oh,
we talking
okay, we
about?
got it short right now.
Oh
We're
no, no,
almost
no.
at,
I said we were going to talk about that.
okay.
I did. I said at
All
the
right.
beginning we were going to talk
I
about it.
thought
So,
so.
so there's a list. So okay, hold on. Let me just pull it up because then I can speak very intelligently. The PWHLPA, you're correct. That's what it is.
Hmm.
They voted to publicly disclose player salaries. So I just want people to know that this is basically a conglomerate of players. So this is made up of players. I think that there is administrative people in this in the PWHLPA as well that aren't players, but for the most part, this is players. And so they published the player salaries for the 25-26 season, which I actually don't think we had seen the totality of it. I think we had seen some snippets of it. But now we can see the totality of it. So the thing I think that I want to remind people. It was funny because I harkened back to when we were sitting. I don't remember. There was somebody sitting in front of us at one game that was like, "Oh my gosh, they should be paying Schroeder $1 million for all the saves she's doing." And I'm like, "Yeah, nobody in this league's making $1 million." And it's like,
Even
even
close.
yeah, nowhere close. A tenth, if even that,
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. So, yeah, I mean, our group chat right now is kind of going off about this, but I would definitely look it up. It's on their website. It's wherever you want to look it up. You can look it up. Maybe I'll
We were
even.
talking about some sort of interrupt, but we like talking about salaries because when women talk about salaries, there's only positive things come about
Right.
that.
So I work in corporate America and I always say, and I'm in middle management in corporate America. So actually goes against what I probably should be saying to my employees, but I always say the only person or object that benefits when we don't talk about what we get paid is the corporation. And so again, I don't necessarily think the Walter Group is doing a bad job. They're operating at a loss right now. Like it's not it's they're making business decisions, and I think that is the business makes the decisions to protect the business. But in that, like the players then have to make for the protection that have to make decisions to protect the players. And because they voted to share their salaries, I think it is the wisest thing for them to be doing because transparency is the only way that we move up. And so I know that we talked about a little bit about this expansion process, that there's going to be six-figure salary, there's going to be a six-figure salary offer going out for every team,
80,000.
an $80,000, salary going out in every team, at least one, if not two. So w looking at these salaries, I still think like median or average is like
Yeah.
55K. So, and for our Canadian, I don't know what that translates in Canadian dollars. I'm sorry, I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, but I will tell you that that is not I don't believe it's livable. Like, I don't think it's, especially in the cities where these teams are, like to make that amount of money um annually. Oh, you're gonna look it up. Okay.
75,
Almost
75,000. Oh,
76,000.
yeah. Yeah.
Almost 76. So anyway, all that to say, it's for this for the major cities in the United States. And again, I don't know cost of living in Canada, so I can't speak to that. I can only assume Vancouver, Seattle is probably pretty similar based on, the fact that we're both on the West Coast and, anyway, all that to say, it's not a livable salary. So we see most of them are roommating up. Now, we also have talked about in the CBA, there is a clause that they get a stipend for housing.
Housing.
So that's not included. So you have to think about that. Like they're getting, I think it's like it's raised 3% every year. So it started at 1,500 and we're in year 4. So math, not my thing. But so they have enough money if they roommate up, obviously, to like live in a decent accommodations and that sort of thing. But still talking about the average salary being 55,000, that's still not a lot of money.
You have
And
to make more
so,
money to live. You need more money than that to live.
right. And so a lot of them, and this is another conversation we've had a lot about, is like most of them do like training camp and stuff like that. Over the training camp, they do
Off season.
skills camps with, like kid, adult, skills camp in off season because they have to make money. And I have no idea how much they get paid to do that sort of thing. But it's obvious because I think almost every player on the Torrent they've been just blasting it on social media. And I want to give a shout out. Jessie Eldridge
Oh
is
my
doing a skills
gosh.
camp this summer, and her graphics,
Her
I
graphic.
was like, oh my God, it's really cute. It's a pink scrunchie, like it's the back of her head with a pink scrunchie. It's the
Uh-huh.
cutest thing.
J.E.
Yeah,
Very.
go look up go look at Jessie Eldridge's social media accounts because it's just the cutest thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
Chef
so,
kiss,
yeah, we love
Jesse.
it. We love it. So anyway, and Jessie Eldridge is, well, once a Torrent, always a Torrent. That's how we
Exactly.
feel. But
Yes.
anyway, I just think it's an important conversation that we continue to bring up. Like it's like the equipment conversation. Like we need to just keep talking about it, even if it's annoying. I don't really care because I think these women need to get paid a living wage. I think that the expectation as athletes, as professional athletes, should not be that they have to do other things in the off season. They should be able to, go golf as we talk about with the NHL,
Hmm.
but take care of their bodies, relax. It's really hard.
Reset.
Well, and it's funny because did you see the Sue Bird interview with her and Jimmy? It's one of the Jimmys.
Jimmy Kimmel?
No,
Jimmy Fallon?
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway,
No, I didn't.
I'm so bad, but he asked if she had played basketball since her retirement. She said no because I don't want to be bad, and that was kind of the joke, like because she doesn't want to be bad, right? But also because she's like, I don't have to ice bath every morning, like my body doesn't hurt, and it's like it's so it's
Goals.
yeah, it's hard, it's hard on their bodies to play a professional sport, and by not making it so that they can focus on recovery and training and honing their skills and all the things that they should be able to do in the off season, we're now putting them in a place where they have to go find work in the off season to be able to make ends meet. So again, businesses do what businesses do to protect themselves, and I'm not shaming or down, like putting down the Walter Group, because
No,
again,
we're happy for them with them because they're investing their money into this
right.
organization
Because
and
currently they're
operating
operating
at
a
a
loss.
loss.
Yeah, they are not. And they actually said they probably wouldn't be profitable till year 10, which is again is an investment. If you have lots of money and you're investing, 10 years is not a huge long time to see a return on investment. But I'm just saying, like, they're not evil. And I know people are like, oh, the evil Walter Group. Like, I just think business, like from a total objective perspective, like businesses do what they do to protect themselves and to make money. But there are also things that you can do as an employee. The players are technically employees of the business. I'm putting that in air quotes, to also protect yourself, which transparency in salary is one of the main things you can do to
Absolutely.
protect yourself. Because if we all know what they make and they all know what each other makes, because that's the other thing, then when you go into a negotiation, you
Year
can say,
end.
here's someone who is at the same level as me, the same age as me, the same experience as me, and they're making X dollars. Why am I not making X dollars? And the thing is like my experience, like moving to a completely different market, it's different obviously with the teams because I think it's pretty universal what they get paid city to city.
Hmm.
But like if you don't know what you don't know what to ask for. And then you end up taking whatever you can get And that's when I moved to Seattle. I unfortunately had that experience, and I realize now, after being here for a number of years, I could have asked for more money and probably gotten it than I got because I didn't know what I didn't know because I moved from a Midwest market. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry guys, I didn't mean to give my little business lesson, but
Yeah, that's all.
yeah. Okay, so do we need anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
It's a good
Do
place.
you want to do last words first or upcoming first?
I can do last word
Okay, go ahead and do last words.
because I think the last word, transparency, is a great last word.
Yeah.
Because I think it's good in the salary. I think it's good with the coaches, the new, the new GMs, the new teams, the business. I think just transparency.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. It's actually kind of a theme in corporate America right now too, to like lead with transparency. Share as much information as you can.
That's good.
Yeah. So
So upcoming.
yes. So upcoming Friday night is Oops All Goalies. We will be there. It's from 5 to 9 at the Kraken Community Iceplex. So
It's free. Come down.
it's free. So we will be there the entirety. We will be live streaming the whole thing on YouTube as well, like we did last time with hopefully a little improved technology. We'll see.
We won't be as stressed.
We won't get,
Definitely.
we will not be as stressed, but we will anyway. So improve technology, hopefully, and it will all get live streamed. I also is really funny because I know I'm like I already talked to people. I'm like if you can't be there in person and you want to live stream it, and then we'll put the live stream will go up on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it in its entirety whenever. But that's coming up on Friday night. I don't think there's anything else this weekend
No,
that I can think of.
no, nothing this weekend.
Okay.
Next weekend we have the Pride.
No.
No?
That's 2 weekends
It's
away.
weekend away? Oh, that's right. It's
Yeah, yeah,
two
yeah.
weekends.
Seattle Pride Classic is not, it's 12th, 13th, 14th. So that's 2 weekends from this weekend. This is very too much time math. But June 12th, 13th, and 14th is Seattle Pride Classic. Just so everybody knows, we just put out the episode with Joey Gill, who is their co-founder. And yeah, it was a great time talking to him, and it was really fun. And so yeah, that's going to be a really fun time too. So, but that's, a couple weeks away. I don't know. People have I have a short attention span. I need to be reminded about stuff like the day of. So
Yeah, yeah. But I think coming up also in our next regular scheduled podcast, we're going to be talking, well, it's going to be before the expansion starts because
Yeah.
it'll come out on the 1st. But right up against that is this expansion process.
yeah, expansion
starting.
process. Yeah, that's what we're calling an expansion process. So and so Mondays, I don't know that we plan on putting out another bonus episode this week. That's not my plan, but this wasn't planned either, which just kind of happened. But Monday's episode, we'll talk about Oops All Goalies. We'll talk about what we know about
Might be some
the
coaching
expansion. Yeah, coaching announcements, expansion, whatever we know at that point. And then potentially, who knows, if we feel like we need to put out a midweek episode next week because of all the expansion stuff going on. But it also might make sense to just wait and wrap it all up, the next week, after we're done. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's what's going on with us. I've seen a lot of sad that hockey's over posts on social media. So I'm going to do another shout out for the Bleacher Babes Seattle group.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie and
Maya.
Maya. They are planning meetups left, right, and center. They're actually coming to Oops All Goalies. So there are ways to stay in this community through the summertime through the off season if you choose to do so. Social media is a great way to find out where those are if you are of the sort to wanting on social media. Okay, I think that's everything.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye. And that's the show. Tune in next time for another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.